Hi, my name is Destiny Ross.
What up, my name is Javon Ross.
What up, my name is Deion Bates.
And we are in the BYC program.
We did a video on gentrification, and gentrification means
when people are being forced to move out of their houses and homes due to high price rent in their communities.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Gentrification.
Gentrification.
When working class and or inner city neighborhoods are converted into more affluent middle class communities as by remodeling buildings, resulting in increased property values and in displacement of the poor.
I moved every year up until I was in about 6th grade.
Well, originally where I was born at, where I lived at until I was about 6 months, I lived on the west side. Then we moved to the, I think from either the west side to the south side, or from the south side to the west side. I can't remember which. Then we found a place up northwest. Then we had to move where Burger King is at to a different place. Then after that, we stayed in the basement, moved from the basement into the 3rd floor in Hispanic housing until I stayed there until I was about 12. And
walking down my streets, I'm usually too busy on my cell phone to notice anything unusual. Starbucks and an antique boutique, what's new? As I pass the second Sunshine tanning salon and the sushi surplus, I can't seem to put my finger on it just yet. I see a bench, and since I have walked a couple of blocks, and after all, I am a big girl, I decide to sit. And then it hits me, and it hits me hard, this epiphany, the chances of us stopping this genocide to stomp out my Boricua pride is as likely as me doing a somersault and landing into a split. Where Lorenzo used to have his famous alcapurrias for 75 cents is now quite concrete and cold. You see, before it had this Afro-Caribe, salsa, merengue, adobo, soul. I'm just repulsed and sickened by these lively homes turned into morbid houses, condos, and what exactly is a Venetian complex? Is it because I don't look like a banana threw up on my head? Is it because I don't frequent the neighborhood hookah bar? How about you take the fact that I won't allow for you to turn Humboldt into a dog park or Clemente into a Windsor Pilates studio that'll offer spinning classes, yoga, not to mention step aerobics, and stuff that in your hookah pipe and smoke it.
One of the challenges that all communities face where you have a tremendous amount of reinvestment is a displacement, as you indicated. However, the question and the issue is should not just be viewed as one of just simply one factor or one element. It has to be viewed upon with a holistic and approach in a holistic manner. As I just indicated, economic development, quality health care, education are important in maintaining a balance and maintaining diversity in communities. Diverse communities are the healthiest communities, and we need to embrace that and we need to encourage that. However, you're not going to be able to maintain diversity if you don't offer access and if you don't offer opportunities to the resources that do exist. So the most important goal and priority is making sure that you give people the necessary tools and resources to be able to take advantage of what is out there.
Affordable housing for people is something that is definitely a necessity in this community because of things that happen historically. Our people can't necessarily have finances that people of privilege generally have and can't afford to buy houses off the bat like that. We have to have it be a process, really, where we rent and save up so that we can later on invest in a housing. It's just not something we can do automatically like that. A lot of this area has been gentrified. You see the condos that are built that we can't afford. You see the hookah bars, you see the tanning salons, you see all of that. But our job is to stay here and make sure that that doesn't happen anymore and that we preserve this neighborhood that we struggled to have for this long.
The history of Humboldt Park community is diverse and complicated. Germans and Scandinavians came to Chicago in the 1800s and founded Humboldt Park. Then came the Norwegians in the 1920s, followed by Italian, Polish, and Jewish immigrants in the 1930s.
Humboldt Park gets its name from a 920-acre park named for Alexander von Humboldt, a German naturalist. The creation of Humboldt and several other Westside parks provided beauty for the surrounding community, which drew many different types of people to live here. Most of the European people who lived in Humboldt Park after World War II were middle class. However, in the 1970s and 80s, more than 30,000 people lost their jobs and many of them left the neighborhood.
The Latinos who came in the 1980s are the latest immigrant group to find a home in Humboldt Park, and this is reflected in the area surrounding it. Along Division Street, the neighborhood's northern boundaries is the mile-long stretch known as Paso Boricua, or the Puerto Rican Passage. Two enormous steel Puerto Rican flags stand at either end of this corridor, signifying the powerful Puerto Rican influence in the area.
Today, the population of Humboldt Park is primarily made up of Puerto Ricans and African Americans. It is a working class community where 31% of the population is below the poverty level and 19% are unemployed. Despite these higher than average numbers, Humboldt Park is a thriving cultural center, especially for the Puerto Rican community.
But this cultural center is changing rapidly. Many older buildings throughout Humboldt Park have been knocked down and replaced by expensive condos that few current residents can afford. As property taxes rise, landlords are forced to raise the rent, thereby displacing longtime residents, many of whom are Puerto Rican. Many displaced residents are forced to move to more expensive or overcrowded places. 80 to 85% of displaced people have to pay more for worse accommodations.
But displacement doesn't happen without a fight. One way to ensure that the residents are not displaced is to change the ownership structure of the land and buildings.
Because Humboldt Park is the center of a particular ethnic community, displacement of the working class residents also means potential destruction of the Puerto Rican community. This displacement is anti-democratic because it denies self-determination to the existing community.